So Linda, tell us a bit about your career as an artist so far.
Originally I trained as a jeweller. I apprenticed since I was quite young and then went and did a degree in Sheffield, and then I did my masters at Royal College of Art doing goldsmithing, silversmithing, metalwork and jewellery.
This is the first time that we've actually had a contemporary art exhibition at the Stonehenge Visitor Centre, so it's quite exciting for us. What does it mean to have your art in quite a different place to where you normally might display it?
So it's really exciting to work with English heritage because usually my work is shown in galleries and museums, so this is quite a different audience actually, who are coming to Stonehenge to see the monument and hopefully be able to then, after seeing the exhibition, look at the monument through fresh eyes.
What can visitors expect to see when they go and visit the exhibition?
In the exhibition there are going to be 40 vessels, all of which together hopefully give a snapshot of the place. So I've created a palette of references, I guess, which is looking at both historical visual imagery and modern people who are working in the area. So working with all of this research, I've started to feed that into these 40 vessels, and they're going to work together to show little hints of texture from the area, some colour, some references of the tools that are used in the place, and also obviously some historical references as well for shape of beakers and grape cups and things like that.
You said that you've been talking to local people, so how have they been inspiring you?
So I've met quite a lot of different people in the local area who are using tools, who are using vessels every day, and who are working in they're influenced by working in the local place. So those are people from the thatcher to the tailor, to the barbers, to people working with leather, all different types of people who work and respond to the local area.
Vessels are something that, as archaeologists, we're really interested in finding out about pottery decoration and forms, and it really helps us to not only date, but also kind of understand food and activities that people are doing, and often they get included in graves. Now, I understand you've been to two local museums to have a look at some of the prehistoric pottery vessels. How have those been inspiring you as well?
Yeah, so I've been to Wiltshire Museum and Salisbury Museum to look at their different collections. Particularly in Wiltshire Museum I was looking at the beakers, and in Salisbury Museum I was looking quite a lot at the ceremonial, the grave goods, so the miniature vessels, which were really fascinating. And that really helped me get kind of a wider understanding of the types of vessels that have been used and made in the local area, and also the decoration that was on them. It's been really interesting to look at vessel making as pottery and then obviously translating some of those visual references into metal.
There's a particular burial near Stonehenge which is quite famous, at least amongst archaeologists. A man we term the Amesbury Archer, and he was buried with 7 of these highly decorated beaker pots, but he also was buried with metalworking tools. Now, I understand you went to see him on display at Salisbury Museum, so what did you think about his grave goods?
Yeah, so it was great to go to the museum and to see him, and also how he was buried with those tools. So obviously a really important part of his identity was that he was a metal worker. And I think I'm right in saying it's the first part of gold in the UK, first example of gold in the UK.
Yeah. So he was buried with some of the earliest copper and gold objects that we know of in the British Isles. And I understand you've been to the Stonehenge Visitor Centre and you've met with some of our volunteers and with some people who are making replica prehistoric pots now. How was that?
So I was lucky enough to go on a holiday period. So at Stonehenge there are usually events and things for the general public, a little bit even more extra special on the holiday period. So I was meeting the gentleman who makes the replica beakers and pots and talking to him about how he actually has to make his own tools. So it's really fascinating to meet someone who's in some ways working in quite a similar way to me, looking at tool making and vessels.
What is it you think about Stonehenge that means that artists and writers have been so inspired by the monument?
Well, I was fortunate enough to go inside the stones and actually going very close, obviously not touching, and seeing the lichen and the colours and the textures are really interesting, and also the carvings of the metal objects as well.
Do you hope the exhibition will help visitors look at Stonehenge in a new way?
Well, I hope that all the vessels, the 40 of them, work together to give a snapshot of the place. By looking at the exhibition and then going out to the landscape, it might prompt people to see it through an artist's eyes.